because it's kind of hard to train people at your best when they, you know what I mean? All right. So let's go ahead and dive in here, all right? So what would you guys say if I told you that I can guarantee you to be profitable in your business? Would you want that? Yes. That no matter if you did not make a dime, I can show you how to still make it profitable. Would you want to know that? Yes. Okay, so here's my first question to you then. What would you say is your number one expense in your household?
Food, mortgage.
Okay, what else? Kids? Huh? Electricity? Electricity, okay. Well, what would y'all say if I told you that your greatest liability in your house?
Amen. You ain't lying about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, more than half of your money, no, you got to hear me on this. Some of you probably going to not believe this. Trust me, I know why. More than half of your money is going towards taxes. Now, some of you are like, well, Obi, that's not true because I make $40,000 a year. After taxes, I bring home 32. That's not true. They tax everything you buy. So the money in it that you got brought home 32, but you're still being taxed as you're spending it. Even when you die, they tax you, death tax.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you pay a death tax. Most people don't even know. I wish I brought my sheet, but the house burned down. So I got to recreate certain things. But I had a sheet, literally, I promise you, all the taxes that they tax you on, I wrote it all down. It was like 4 sheets of paper. I'm not single-spaced. I'm not kidding. If you would be blown away. You'd be like, what? Just like that, death taxes on. People are like, they tax you on death? I'm gone. How they tax you?
Wow.
I'm telling you.
If you dead. That's all I'm asking.
That's a good question. That's a good question. But I can answer that at the end just because I'm my time. I got to stay on track, all right? No problem. No, you're good, sweetheart. It's a good question. All right, so taxes are your number one expenses. Now, here is the thing with the wealthy. The wealthy don't look and deal with money the same as the people who are not wealthy. They have a different relationship with money. Now, here's the thing. You might say, well, wow, I'm a good person. I believe in God and all this stuff. How come it's not happening for me? Well, because you haven't learned what is called financial literacy. Most people have more degrees on the wall than a thermometer, but they're still broke. And the reason is because they have understood education and knowledge and information, but they have not understood finances. They're literate academically, but illiterate financially. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand the language of money. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 things to kind of give you an idea of what I'm speaking of. Example number 1, most people think that bankruptcy is a bad thing. It's not. It's a tool. Bankruptcy is a tool. You're about to have an aha. Bankruptcy is a tool. Bankruptcy is a tool. I used to think the same way, hon. I used to think, you know what? Bankruptcy, no, not for me. That means this and that. No, it's not. The wealthy use it as a tool. I'll prove it. I was at, pay attention, watch this. I was at the train station. Two newspaper stands in front of me. Now, I hate news. I don't buy the newspaper. I don't read the newspaper. I don't watch the news. I don't do it because I don't believe in negativity entering in. But because sometimes, sidebar, people say, well, how are you going to find out what's going on if something bad's happened? Somebody will tell me if the world's about to end. Anyway, so let's put that aside. So let's just stay on. So I'm looking at these 2 newspapers. One of them said Donald Trump filed bankruptcy. Then one next to it said Donald Trump had $1 million wedding. Now I looked and I said, okay, somebody forgot to change the newspaper. That's an old newspaper. So I took my money, bought both just so I could figure it out. I looked, they both had the same date, which was that date that I was standing in front of them. Wow. Now I said to myself, how in the world can this man file bankruptcy and have $1 million wedding? Because usually you think if you file bankruptcy, this is when I didn't know it was a tool, usually you think you file bankruptcy, that means you have no. And then I'm thinking, well, if all he's got is $1 million, why in the world he's spending on his wedding? I love my wife, but if that's all I got, honey, okay, we'll have that conversation next time too. So y'all with me? So what I realized was, that's when it started shifting for me. I started realizing the rich use that as a tool. The United States government, just so you know, here's the financial literacy part. The United States government has created a tool called bankruptcy to reward the entrepreneur, not the employee. Why? Because they know that the entrepreneur stimulates the economy. They keep the wheel going. So they've given them a tool. If you mess up, hit reset. Oh, I'm sorry, file bankruptcy. Wow. Did you get it? See how the rich think differently?
Wow.
You with me? Whereas those of us who didn't have that money, We looking at it, yeah, we are. We scared. We looking at it as, man, I'm not doing that. You with me? It's just to give you an example of the shift that I want you to get, okay? So with that said, that same type of mindset is what I'm going to have you think about with your taxes, in that your taxes can actually be turned around to be in your favor. Here's what it's called. I'm going to take out the S, and I'm going to write a word right here. Tax deductions. So I start a business, and I don't make any money. I find myself spending all this money. I'm like, man, this business isn't working. I'm going to quit. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because everything you spent on that business is now can be taken as a tax deduction. Give you an example just to make it even more sense for you. Drive it a little deeper. My wife and I went on vacation. I've told this story for the third time today. I still can't figure out where we went. My wife and I went on vacation. Got off the plane. I spent 15 minutes talking to a brother about a company I was involved with, and I was trying to get him to get involved. The last day of the vacation, because it was a 2-week vacation, I spent another 15 minutes talking to a young lady at the airport trying to get her involved in my business. When I got home, I was able to write off the entire vacation as a business expense. $7,200 went back in my pocket. The government says if you spend 15 minutes when you get off the plane talking to someone about the opportunity and you document it, and you spend another 15 minutes telling somebody about the opportunity before you leave, everything in between is a business expense. Are y'all starting to become more financially literate? Ladies and gentlemen, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So stop looking at an unsuccessful business as unsuccessful. The fact that you have a business, you're already successful. Let me go a little deeper. Anybody seen The Matrix?
Yes. Love it.
Okay. What did Morpheus tell Neo that he was when he was in the Matrix? What did he tell him he was to the Matrix? He had it in his hand. No. Die, my man. He told Neo, it's all good, but it's okay. He told Neo that he is a battery. Let me give you another word, a synonym, my synonym for the word battery. Thank you, sweetheart. Employee.
Oh, wow.
I hope I'm not offending or insulting anybody, but that's what you are at your job. You're a battery. You are powering somebody else's business, and they're using you to power their bank account. And so, ladies and gentlemen, until you wake up to what you are, the possibility of what you could be stays asleep. So I'm not trying to insult and offend. I hope I'm not. Hope you can hear my heart. But Eric said it earlier. The truth will make you mad at first, and then it sets you free. So now that we are aware that we need to get more financial literacy, I'm going to pray that you go grab a book, listen to an audio, start shifting your mindset around understanding money and how it works. What are the laws that govern money? Do you know money never wants to sleep? Do you know all money wants to do is serve a master? Do you know all money wants to do is work? Do you know all money wants you to do is put overalls on and send it to the field to go pick some cotton? Do you know that? That's all money does. So when people say, oh, I got this under my mattress, you're being a fool. That thing wants to serve you, and you got it locked up. Oh, I got it in my savings account. Okay. Let's put that aside. Now, check this out. Everybody have a folder? Y'all got your folders? Yes, ma'am. Grab that. I know I promise you, everybody's like, what in the world? It'll make sense, I promise you. So everybody pull out that sheet that looks like this. It has numbers on it. Okay. Now, I promised my Creator that if He would bless my family and I with 7 figures, that I would never lie, cheat, steal, or destroy. And so I have to operate with integrity. I'm going to ask you all to do the same. Can I invite you into that conversation with me? Yes. Okay. So in this one we're about to have, I need you to please operate with integrity or you'll miss something very big. So here's the first rule of integrity with us in this conversation. I need all eyes on me. What's the first rule? All eyes on you. Okay, thank you. The second rule is when I say stop, you what? Stop. Okay. Because if you cheat, you're out of integrity, you'll miss it, and you'll stay in that situation longer. Trust me on this, y'all. God has set this universe up and says you operate on principles or you will perish. Amen. Jump off the building. If I'm a priest or crook, do you think gravity cares? No. I violated the what?